Hey, it's Jen from Winrose Fiber Studio. I just launched the oversized tatted necklace pattern, and I wanted to share a few more needle tatting basics with you today. When you're doing a pattern, it's nice to pre-measure your yarn. My patterns will tell you how many yards you need for the whole project, but they also specify how much yarn to measure off to give you a starting point. For example, in the oversized tatted necklace 13-inch pattern, I say to measure off 14 feet of unworked yarn and begin the necklace at this point. So when you measure your yarn, I'm using a yarn meter, but you can use a ruler like I have here. Just don't pull the yarn tight. It's better to end up with a little too much yarn than not enough yarn. By pre-measuring, you can avoid any knots or flaws that may exist in your skein. I want to take a couple minutes now to review the front double stitch and the back double stitch. I'm going to start with the front double stitch. I'm slowing down the video for a moment. In the front double stitch, let me start again. My thumb goes over the yarn and it pulls up a loop. And then my needle is going to go under the yarn in the front of my thumb. That's the first half of the double stitch. Now I just did that second half really fast, so I'm going to wait till I get to the next stitch to talk about it. Okay, so that's one front double stitch, and here I'm starting my second one. That's the first half of the second double stitch. Now you can see I'm putting my thumb under the yarn and pulling up a loop, and the needle goes underneath the yarn behind my thumb to complete the stitch. That's the second half of the double stitch. I'm going to do one more. Thumb goes over and the needle goes in front for the first half. Thumb goes under and needle goes in back for the second half. Okay, so now I have 3 front double stitches on my needle. It's easy to count your stitches in needle tatting. I'm going to slide these down and put a little space in between them, and I'm going to show you the back double stitch. It's the same thing, just in reverse. So first my thumb's going to go under the yarn, pulling up a loop, and my needle will go and pick up the yarn in the back of my thumb. And now my thumb's going to go over the yarn, pulling up a loop, and the needle goes under the front. So now I have a double stitch that's facing away from me. If I turn my needle around, you can see on the side away from me, it looks just like a front double stitch. Okay, I'm going to turn my needle back around and do a couple more back double stitches. Thumb goes under, needle goes in back, thumb goes over, needle goes in front. That's 2 back double stitches. And one more. Thumb goes under, needle in back, thumb goes over, needle in front. Okay, so here we go, one more look. I have 3 front double stitches and then 3 back double stitches. And here's how the back side looks. And now we're all set to move on. Now I'm going to tat a small ring onto my needle so I can talk about a few other things. The first thing I want to emphasize is how important it is to keep your tension relaxed. It's easier on the needle when you're sliding your stitches off not to have them on there too tightly. And it also just looks nice. You don't want them too loose, but you really don't want them too tight. Watch how easily these stitches slide right off my needle. And I'm pulling my working yarn through, closing my ring. When you're closing a ring, take the time to adjust the tension so that your ring is nice and even. This is a small ring. It's just a 6 double stitch ring. And I'm just using it as a foundation so I can show you the front and the back side. There's the back side of the ring, and also how to join motifs together. So I'm going to add a Josephine chain. You can see I'm holding my needle right over my work, and I want that first stitch to be very close to the ring. Every so often when making a Josephine chain, you need to drop the yarn and let the twist re-enter. Josephine chains like to untwist your ply. Once I have 7 stitches, I'm going to wrap my yarn around and create that spiral. I'm just doing a short one so you can see how close this Josephine chain is to the beginning ring. So I pull the yarn through. You can see they're nice and close. The ring to the Josephine chain. If I give a little tug on the yarn that's attached to the skein, it will help to hold that chain in place. And there you have the 2 motifs together. So what do you do if you come to the end of a skein, or if you do run into that pesky knot? That's an important question because it happens to everybody. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the knot, thus making a break in my working yarn. I have to join the 2, so I'm going to thread the new yarn onto a large-eyed needle, and then I look at the yarn it's replacing, and I'm going to weave it into the back side of that yarn. You can see I'm just going underneath the double stitches all along that half of the split ring. Then I make sure I go around another piece of yarn and bring it back through. It doesn't take a lot to secure the yarn in your work. And then I can trim that off. I think I am using the dullest scissors for this video. Don't ask me why. There we go. And now I can continue working with the new yarn. I'm going to go ahead and make another split ring, and jumping ahead, once I have that second split ring done, I can turn my work over and then weave the other end into the back side of the new split ring. This is just a sampler that I'm working with today, but this sewing technique is also how you're going to join the 2 ends of your oversized tatted necklace together. Well, that's all for now. I'll leave links below for the other tatting videos and for the pattern for the oversized tatted necklace.